Oh, look at that. Okay. Hello, everyone. It's Colin Sandy from Sandy Audiovisual. Sorry for the mess, but I really wanted to make a video of this. And as full disclaimer, um, my company, Sandy Audiovisual, does indeed sell these products. Um, we carry the whole Vaddio line, along with 2,500 other manufacturers. So, um, but as always, if I'm raving about something, it's because it's good. It's as simple as that. And usually, I think this is probably the first product that I've reviewed that was actually sent to me as opposed to me buying it outright. So you can take that with a grain of salt, but I will say in all candor that I was surprised by this camera. We're looking at the Vaddio Roboshot 30E NDI cam, and I have a few NDI cams here. Um, we have a PTZ Optics, or if you're across the pond, PTZ Optics. With a PTZ Optics cam here, one of their very popular cameras. They have them ranging everything from 12 times zoom to 30 zoom, and it is NDI. This is the 20X version. I believe this one here, you just tell by the lens, yeah, it's wider, is the 12X version. So a wide and a telephoto. And of course, the Lumens made NewTek PTZ1 and another fine camera, all NDI. I also have the old but venerable BRC 900 here from Sony. Excellent camera. Of course, in a completely different class range, because when this retailed, it was closer to 10 grand, and all these other cameras are closer to 2 or 1. So we're not going to compare image quality. Really, I wanted to show just a setup with this camera. I have a custom build here with Livestream Studio installed. You can see here on this monitor, and we're going to hook it up and see how it goes. Of course, I've done this before, so I expect it to be pretty straightforward. Now, what I've done here is I've hooked the Vaddio camera up to a really inexpensive, off-the-shelf here PoE switch. An interesting thing to note about this camera is that it doesn't actually have a power input, but it does come with a PoE injector. This is, right, comes with a PoE injector. It's just a regular computer plug on the back, and two RJ45 ports on the front. So of course you stick in the one between your camera and the network, and the camera, sorry, the power brick and the network, the power brick in your camera, and that gives you power injection to have your data and power over one cable line. But if you already have a PoE switch, you don't need this. But this is the power supply that comes with the camera. Right here. Let this guy boot up. The power light, we'll see when it goes through its home spin here. Now, one thing that you immediately notice is, you see how easily that turned? The gimbal on this camera is incredible. It is so incredibly fluid. Really, unless you have like a really high-end motor like here on the H900 from Sony, I haven't had as smooth a control on a small PTZ head as I've had on this. It feels like it's almost like a mag rail or something that's just floating there on two magnets opposing each other. It's that fluid. Of course, less so when the motor engages, but it really turns easily. And that really belies the point when you try joystick control on it. It is incredibly smooth. Even with a software controller, and most of you, especially if you're a little older, software controllers trying to move a PTZ with a mouse maybe not be the smoothest thing you could do. So great on this, but really this video is all to get to one point. This is the only PTZ NDI CAM on the market that uses the full NDI protocol. And I was like, yeah, whatever, that's nice, but it really makes a difference as far as image quality. So forgive me for turning my back to you here, but I'm going to see if I can now find this camera on my network. I didn't pre-configure anything or do anything special. I'm just going to go to add input here and look for remote cameras, and wow, I see two things. Apparently I have a test pattern running on some computer in the shop. NDI or NewTek has a whole bunch of NDI applications that you can get for free, and a test pattern generator is one of them. I have it running on a computer. It is shown up here, but also the NDI Vaddio Roboshot Elite NDI, and then the MAC address Roboshot NDI has popped up on this display. So unless I fat finger it, we'll turn it on there. It said it has connected. I'll put it on preview. Where's my keyboard? Put it on program. The amazing thing, with full NDI, you get a really good color space as opposed to the NDI HX, which is a stripped down version of NDI, or really low bandwidth version. This is using the full bandwidth version of NDI, 100 megabits per second plus. It is great. Other than that, with absolutely no configuration of this camera, just out of the box, the color is simply incredible. Right? You really can't tell, you're looking at a compression of a compression of a compression off of a not that great television. But I'm not going to put these cameras side by side. Maybe I'll do that in a subsequent video, but I really wanted to get to the point that this little camera, despite, you look at it and, you're like, well, boy, the optics doesn't look like anything to write home about. But really, neither does the $1,500 iPhone that I'm shooting this on. But it just goes to show you that the electronics can do a world of incredible things with your optics. Of course, this is much better than an iPhone lens, but the picture, the color trueness to it is very, very good. So, three things I really, really like about this camera. Well, four. One, it's small, so you can really take it with you. Heavier than you think. It has I think, a weighted base here, but it's compact. Two, extremely easy to set up. You stick in the NDI cable. If you have an NDI switcher, software switcher on your network, it's going to see it instantly, and as you can see, instantly get a picture from it. Two, color reproduction. My orange safety cone looks like an orange safety cone. My red and dark gray, or whatever color that is, dark brown, I'm not sure, just because I really don't know what color that is. Sofa thing looks exactly as I see it with my eyes. That's what it looks like on screen. Same thing with my orchids here. They look like what they're supposed to look like. The other thing I like about this, of course, is that it's using the full version of NDI. If you're trying to do a wireless setup, of course it's not going to work for you because the bandwidth is too high. But the full version of NDI gives you such a beautiful picture that I think Vaddio did a great job of putting this camera together and putting together specifically an NDI PTZ cam. So let's have a go at trying to control it. All right, let's give it something pretty to look at. PTZ. Let's connect to it here in Livestream Studio. Let's find the joystick. Look at that. Oh, it's just incredible. Look at that. Just the motion. It's very quiet too. Look at that. I want to do it really slow. It's a joy. And as I said, this is just with a mouse and one of these, you know, not always that much fun to control software PTZ interfaces. It's actually usable. I mean, I could use that on air and get some decent movement out of that. That's just with a mouse, not even a good mouse. You know, my spare $2 literally knockoff wireless mouse, right? Very good camera. Again, if you saw this camera and thought Vaddio, I don't know. Full NDI. The picture looks great. You know, if you spray painted over the Vaddio and you gave someone this camera, they'd be like, wow, how much did you pay for that? And it's NDI too, and it's giving you full bandwidth NDI. Long story short, if you're thinking about this camera, especially if you don't have sophisticated color control, like for instance, if you're using this camera, say with a Scarhoy controller or some other NDI controller, or with NewTek Studio monitor, and you're just using a Xbox joystick or something, and you don't have sophisticated camera control. I know the ATEMs, if you're sticking with an ATEM camera or a Blackmagic Design, camera, one of the Ursas, you have incredible DaVinci type color control. That's great. If you have a really high-end switcher like a VMC or TriCaster, and you have, you know, very sophisticated RGB and component color controls, and you can manipulate your color and that sort of thing, that's great. If you need a simple, either portable or install camera for simple folks to use, this is it. You know, like I said, I wasn't expecting this much out, but clearly they're doing a lot with the electronics in here. If they bothered putting in the full version of NDI, they probably put in a full FPGA, and there are some other processing. So what you're getting out of the camera right off is great, and you don't have to do a lot of manipulation with the image afterwards. So this is one to consider when you're thinking about your small PTZ camera purchases. Again, that's the Vaddio Roboshot 30E for Elite. Great camera. And that's pretty much all I have to say about that. And don't have to use something like Livestream Switcher. There are a lot of free tools that do NDI. There's a lot of switchers that do. There's OBS, there's vMix, there's XSplit, there's a NewTek TriCaster line, there's a NewTek VMC, did I already say vMix? I might have, but anyways, lots of stuff out there. There's, you know, free tools that you can record and control them with. So yeah, NDI, NewTek's amazing protocol. This uses the full version of it. I'm repeating myself, but that's because I'm just hitting home with those points. This is the only camera on the market, the only PTZ camera on the market that uses the full version of NDI, and it really shows in the important part, and that's the camera output.